light. Shadows creep and crawl with every scream. Hear the echoes call. Synths and guitars in a haunting blend. An 80s vibe where the terror transcends. Shocktoberfest, scream until dawn. In your nightmares, the terror's reborn. Lights flash, monsters take flight. Embrace the darkness. It's a battle night.
How's it going, everybody? Wowman Wes here, and welcome to day 27 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. Closing out 1988, I realized something with this series. I haven't done an anime yet. And I have done anime in the past, and unfortunately when it comes to horror-themed anime in the 80s, I've kind of run the gambit and did them already. When it comes to Vampire Hunter D, or Akira, or even possibly Wicked City and Demon City Shinjuku, I sit before you perplexed, and in this situation, I had to be a little dirty. Instead of doing a full-length film, I decided to review an episode based on an OVA character known as Violence Jack, and the episode is the second one in the series, known as Evil Town. So I figured, Evil Town, hey, it sounds horrific enough, and why not get into this now? In this series of Violence Jack, the city of Tokyo is riddled with destruction and chaos. And those who survived everything are living underground, trying their best to maintain life and also survive. And hopefully one day when they come out of the trenches, they'll be able to go back into the real world and maybe sustain some form of life and growth as the years go by. However, in this episode, while people are underground trying to survive, there are factions that are going against each other, stealing food, and also attacking each other brutally to the point where an all-out war is going to happen again. And unfortunately, with one of these sections, the authorities are in control, and they also are in cahoots with the other section that has the leader named Mad. I didn't write it, but the Mad Gang as well. Hey, I guess the ego doesn't go too far, does it? While digging through the catacombs in this underground area of the rubble within the town, they break down a wall where a giant of a man known as Violence Jack, monstrous man who holds a jackknife, and that's pretty much why they call him Jack. He agrees to help until he finds out that the authorities are corrupt. He turns against them. He meets one of the faction leaders named Layla, and they form a bond of trust and respect for one another, and he decides he's going to help her faction take out the rest of the Mad Gang and eventually help them survive and have a better life down the line. Meanwhile, the Mad Gang, they get wind of this, and they decide, we're going to go and do an all-out attack on them. Huge battles left and right, and a lot of very suggestive scenes of graphic nature that I can't really get into, but I'll talk about it a little bit later on. And you find out that Violence Jack and Mad are both biohumans that can build themselves up and bulk themselves up to almost energy levels that Goku and Vegeta would blush at. In the end, Jack reigns supreme, and he destroys Mad, and he helps Layla and her villagers out. A lot of them escape, getting outside to the real world, and see that Tokyo is still in shambles, and they still realize they have to start all over again. Now it's time to talk about what I like and what I don't like about this episode of Violence Jack. What I like about this is that it definitely has that sense of confinement. Though there's enough area for people to spread out and try to survive, there's still that entrapment, or just that enclosure where no matter what, even if you try to get away from one group of people that's trying to take over your resources, there's another group that's nearby that may not be as nice, or might be a little bit more deceptive. I also love the fact that the character of Violence Jack, though as brute and as stoic as he is, especially almost being a cynic, doesn't necessarily have a lot of trust in people, he has this sense of duty, sense of justice to take care of those who are truly being wronged, and also for the sake of humanity down the line. You don't get that a lot. Sometimes you do, but then again, some of these characters, whether anime or even in live-action movies and TV shows, they're driven by a more greedy purpose. And in this situation, he doesn't do it necessarily for greed. He makes it sound like he does in the beginning, but as you see the connection between Jack and Layla, you realize even though he's a biohuman, he still has compassion, and that's kind of cool. We're going to talk about what I don't like about this episode now. In this series, it starts off with a lot of this destruction through the town of Tokyo, and I feel that this series definitely, I wouldn't say rips off other animes or OVAs or manga or Shonen Jump or whatever you want to describe. It's been done before. You look at movies like Akira, where there was a destructive force that took down an entire city, almost an entire country. You also look at Fist of the North Star, where it starts off with all these, explosions, death, destruction, war, and it just feels like it's been done before, and the concept is overplayed. And granted, it doesn't destroy the story completely. I get a lot of deja vu from it, and I start asking myself, is this a completely different story, or is this like a sub-story within some of the other ones that we've grown to know and love? Now it's time to talk about the elephant in the living room when it comes to content. When I went into this, I had never watched Violence Jack. I had heard about it, but not completely. It is a very action horror-based series. However, there are moments in the content where there are suggestive scenes, where they are not censored. And I realized, wow, man, Wes might have did a boo-boo by reviewing a movie or an OVA that might be considered, for all you in the know in the anime world, it treads on H. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to get farther into it. If y'all want to talk about it, hey, there's that comment section. You can describe it amongst yourselves. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. Well, this is quite a short episode in a way. It's time to grade this OVA episode of Violence Jack. When it comes to that sense of it's been done before in deja vu, and also the blindsiding of the content nature, and you mix in the fact of the character of Jack is a little bit different than a lot of the other characters from these series, that deja vu happens. I'm just leaving it at that. Also, they did their best to make this their own, with something different instead of just the one side against the other. It's multiple sides, nobody's safe. I liked that, and especially the confinement, because it gives that feeling of dread. And when it comes to things, horror nature, yeah, that confinement, that helps. That being said, the grade that I'm giving Violence Jack Evil Town, solid A. That's being very, very lenient. I could have knocked the grade a lot more because of the deja vu and realizing I was going into content that is absolutely not suitable for kids. If you are under the age of 18, you better not be watching Violence Jack Evil Town. I'm watching you. Yeah. No. You don't do that. Not old enough. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode as best as I could make it. If you've seen this OVA and you agree with me, leave a thumbs up. And if not, I understand. Not everything is for everybody, including anime. Also, make sure you share on social media, but most importantly, let's get that algorithm up and get some more subscribers. Push that little red button and ring the bell for instant updates. Until then, I'm Wildman Wes, and we will see you tomorrow for day 28 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind with 1989. Take care, and as always, stay scared, kiddies.